Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStick XL. And as you can tell, the gray beard is very much gray. I have not shaved. I was doing stuff today and I was supposed to shave, and that's not one of the things I did. And no, I wasn't playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I was doing that to the wee hours of half past midnight last night. Got into the winner's circle almost every freaking time. And I have a shoddy that I'm normally not a shotgun guy, but that dragon's breath, woo, man, that lights mofos up like you wouldn't believe. But I'm having a blast with it. I want to get back into Avowed in the worst way. I'm just waiting for that new game plus. I really hope that happens soon. I am gonna go buy today, and it slipped under my radar. Did anyone see that Black Hawk Down game that they remade? It looks really freaking good, man. I saw it accidentally. It's top in the top 10 on Steam. And I'm like, yo, I got to check this game out. It looks really, really good. So I think I'm going to wind up getting that as well. But, folks, we were supposed to have opened the show with the Tony Hawk information, which thanks to Sith Lord in the chat who DM'd me, that announcement has been delayed. So it's not going to be a topic today. We will make mention of what information that Sith Lord sent me. It's leaked, folks. The cat's out of the bag. It's the worst kept secret in the world. But we are going to be covering, folks. Get ready for this. The Gears of War news that's happening this year. And it's not just happening for Xbox. It's happening for PlayStation 5 as well. Big news there. And a massive leak for Modern Warfare 4 by Infinity Ward coming next year to, guess what? Next-gen consoles only. That means PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, as well as Xbox One X and S, they're cut off. So if you want to play the new Modern Warfare, you're going to have to buy a new console. But that's not where the story ends. Okay, so again, I believe it was Tom Henderson that actually reported on this, and I have his article ready and queued. Apparently, they're working on the next generation of Xbox version. Wow, Jamie Moran, that kind of tells me that next year might be new hardware like we all originally thought. But before we get into those two massive topics, Jamie Moran, good afternoon, kind sir. How you feeling?
Hey man, happy to be here. Still under the weather, as you know, but getting there. I've been playing lots of Avowed, so I've been enjoying gaming a lot. And you mentioned that Black Hawk Down game. I've been following that game since it was first announced about a year ago. That's coming to Xbox this year, by the way.
Yeah.
And that game looks phenomenal, and it's free to play, so crazy stuff. But no, I'm happy about all the gaming news today. A lot of cool stuff. Tony Hawk. I think a lot of people listening have this weird nostalgia for Tony Hawk games because, if you played them in the late 90s or early 2000s, like those were like weirdly big games.
Yeah.
And for them to come back in a way where skateboarding games have kind of been away for, 15 years, maybe a little bit more. And now that they're coming back into the fold slowly and you have Skate 4 that we might be seeing this year, it's a good time to be a gamer.
It absolutely is. Look, I'm going to say this. I know it has nothing to do with the other, but it kind of does. What we're starting to see is the return of iconic, exports type of games, right? Tony Hawk is iconic, not just because he is a pro skater, and no pun intended there, but it's because these games, no matter where you played them, you had fun playing them. And to see them coming back, especially remade the way that they were, because Tony Hawk 1 and 2, the remake or the remaster, they're calling it, was phenomenally done. I mean, it was absolutely stunning how good it looked. And I would imagine that Tony Hawk 3 and 4 is going to look as good, maybe even better, right? That's not where I want this conversation to end. And you mentioned Skate. Now, Skate, if I recall correctly, that was an EA joint, right? EA made Skate, right?
Yeah.
Well, if they're going to bring Skate back, and I think that they should, because there are a lot of fans that really, really liked that version of skateboarding video games, I am going to throw this out into the ether. Again, I know it doesn't have one to do with the other. Folks, who in the class here, raise your hand, proudly remembers SSX Tricky? I mean, the Run DMC song that opened it up, I understand that there's licensing things. I really hope at some point or another, I would just take a cheap Charlie remaster of that game just to be able to play it on my Series X. That is one of my favorite snowboarding games in the entire series. And I absolutely loved every one of the freaking characters. I would love to see that come back. But you know what? While we await for Infinite Umber to get here, and before we get to the Modern Warfare 4 and Gears of War stories, I just want to once again thank Sith Lord, who's in the chat, consistently helps out the content creation community by putting out there, hey, on Tuesday, Boom's going live and Jamie's going live, and on Wednesday, prime time, and on Thursday, it's PM in the PM. He does this every day. And that is just absolutely astounding that he takes the time out of his busy day to, help us, promote our work. Well, he was nice enough to send me the leaked information that's basically everywhere regarding the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, which, by the way, folks, is the worst kept secret in the history of secrets for video games. Well, according to the leak, it apparently is launching on July 11th, 2025, which is right after the June showcase. Be a couple of weeks after the June showcase. And it's going to have two versions. A deluxe and collector's edition are said to include 3 day of early access. I mean, I put it to this way. I would imagine it's going to go into Xbox Game Pass. I would imagine there's going to be a $10 upgrade that you can get all the extra, bells and whistles, if you will, and get the 3 day early access. I will be buying that, spending the $10 because I'm going to play through Xbox Game Pass. But I think that's going to be a big seller. Once again, a shout out to Sith Lord for dropping that hot information. But Jamie, I want to go right to you immediately on this. As again, we are currently awaiting the return of Mr. Umber, which, by the way, put up some of the new things he bought for his pewter, if you will, and that monitor that he got. I think it's 49 inches. Pause. It looked dope AF. Again, I appreciate the share, and I love the fact that there are so many people in this community that love PC gaming. It is just not for me, man. If I could buy the box under the TV like the rumored Xbox, and it's just a PC but looks and runs like an Xbox, that's as far as I'm going to venture into PC land. But got to shout out once again Tom Henderson for the opening salvo story. And of course, let's pull it up. This is the story regarding Call of Duty 2026 is being developed for the next generation Xbox, it's claimed. Now, this is from InsiderGaming.com. It was written on March 3rd, 2025, which was yesterday. And the author, of course, is, in fact, Tom Henderson. Now, the story goes on to say, Jamie, it's been claimed that the Call of Duty 2026, which is expected to be Modern Warfare 4, is in development not only for current consoles, which of course is the PS5, PS5 Pro, Series X and S. It is apparently also in development for the next Xbox console, meaning Xbox's next gen box. This is very exciting. Now, of course, let's go right to the article. Let's read verbatim, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes on to say this. That's according to reputable Call of Duty leaker, The Ghost of Hope. Now, we've talked about The Ghost of Hope on this show numerous times. I obviously don't know him, but he is a reputable Call of Duty leaker. He took to X, formerly Twitter, to break the news after it was announced that Season 3 of Black Ops 6 would be delayed until April, which is fine. According to Hope, the 2026 title is not being developed for past generation consoles, unlike Call of Duty 2025. and is being developed for the next generation of Xbox. If true, this could be our first real hint that the next gen Xbox could in fact release around fall of 2026. Now, the story goes on to say, Jamie, also pointed out by Hope, is that apparently the Verdansk does not bring back it's a map. It's called Verdansk. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Does not bring players back to Call of Duty Warzone. A third game in the free-to-play battle royale will not be released. So, I mean, obviously they're seeing declining numbers with Warzone. Warzone 1, huge hit. Warzone 2 hit originally. It seemed to have fallen off, but I think that is because of how really great Black Ops 6 is. Jamie, this is a story that we're going to have to tear down here. Look, we knew by just the numbers count that there's a Call of Duty releasing this year. It is rumored to be a sequel to Black Ops 2, which is going to be dope. Again, super excited for that. But I want to focus our attention on 2026. Now, 2026, ladies and gentlemen, I did a video just the other day, and it was obviously part of the podcast, so it is chopped down, so it's easier for you to listen to. I think it's like 28 minutes or something like that, and it goes into depth how crazy 2026 is already shaping up to be with, again, second story of today is going to be Gears of War E-Day, which apparently is releasing in 2026. We're going to get into what actually is releasing this year, and not only for Xbox, but for PlayStation 5 as well. Now, 2026 is a big year. I think it's going to be the year of Xbox. And I say that with confidence for a couple of reasons, ladies and gentlemen, and Jamie. It is the 25th anniversary of the platform, right? That's a really big deal. It's also the 25th anniversary of the Master Chief and Halo Combat Evolved. And I think that next year we do get that rumored Unreal Engine 5 remake of the original game. And that is going to be pretty crazy. But it also is the 20th anniversary of Gears. Now, when you consider how big of a year it's going to be, I think the icing on top of this beautiful and delicious cake that we're about to dive into is potentially two brand new pieces of hardware, one of which is expected to be the mythical box that they were talking about in the article, which will be the next generation console for Xbox, as well as its handheld. But in that same year, you're getting Fable, you're getting potentially Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And to add more caveat to this craziness, Jamie Moran, you got potentially Modern Warfare 4, which obviously will be the premier version because it is going to be made from the ground up for the next generation of hardware, according to the leaker. Jamie, there's a lot to get into. Let's break it down, dude.
I mean, I'm one of those people that I'm maybe in the one of the 5% of people that play Call of Duty for the campaign.
You're not wrong. I played for the campaign until this particular Call of Duty, and now my soul belongs to Black Ops 6 multiplayer.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, we can all look back and see that Modern Warfare 3 that was clearly meant to be an expansion because, man, if you put on Titanic on Disney Plus and play that campaign, Titanic's probably longer. You know, like that campaign is ridiculously short. I mean, there's a campaign mission, and it's embarrassing where you literally have to walk through a courtyard, up a building, through a flight of stairs, and that's it. And then there's a cutscene, and then it goes on to the next mission. I'm like, that's it? That's really it? But everyone pretty much knew it was an expansion. But I'm ecstatic for a new campaign, for a proper Modern Warfare campaign. And like, look, the biggest news, like when you sent me that that list of Call of Duty news last night, like my jaw was literally on the floor with the Warzone stuff. And you know, Warzone came out when the first lockdown happened, right? So like when we were all stuck in the house, Warzone was all that people were talking about. Even the people I know that don't play games, they were playing Warzone, right? So everyone was on that, and it came out at the right time, and everyone had access to it. We were still on Xbox Ones and PlayStation 4s and stuff, and it just felt right. And then it's kind of gotten downhill over time because the cheaters and stuff. But honestly, I think it's the least accessible battle royale game because one, it takes way too long to get into a match, way too long. There's too many cheaters. And honestly, since they put the Black Ops weapons in Warzone, it doesn't feel good anymore. Like I love Black Ops multiplayer. It's incredible. It's smooth. The omnidirectional movement's great. I like the Black Ops weapons in the regular multiplayer, but for Warzone, trash. Absolutely trash. Like me and one of my friends, we're addicted to Warzone Resurgence, and ever since they switched the weapons in November to Black Ops 6 weapons, it's terrible. Like awful, awful.
Yes, that's
But thankfully, they will go back to Modern Warfare weapons when the next Call of Duty comes out, or well, the one in 2026. So like, we'll see what happens there. But I just checked, and Warzone is the eighth best. Eighth most. I can't speak today. Eighth most free to play game played on Xbox. Right?
yeah,
It used to be too. So like Warzone's gone a lot. Warzone's gone down in popularity, and just because of the cheating and all that stuff,
yeah.
and like the maps are too big, the matches take way too long, and honestly, if a match takes 10 minutes to get into and you get wiped out within the first minute, it's not fun. Which is why I think Warzone Resurgence is better, but it's going to be a big year for Call of Duty because when Black Ops 6 came out, literally on this show, we were talking about like, is it disappointing that it's coming out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4? Because you have these huge set pieces, and like, look, we haven't had destructibility in a Call of Duty game. Not really. Maybe with like moving away from last generation consoles, maybe we can have that. I think Call of Duty has a big push forward in not just game design, but overall graphical fidelity, audio, and all that stuff once every couple of years. And I think, cutting off Xbox One and PlayStation 4, it's about time. Like, yes, there's tens of millions of people on those consoles, but at the end of the day, like, at some point, something's got to give, right? And I feel like, next year, Modern Warfare 4, I think that might be the biggest point for Call of Duty at that point, and that's great. But like the stars are lining up for COD. They need a win with Warzone, man. Warzone has to continue to be big because, like, look, if you bought skins for years in Call of Duty, you can play that. You can use them in Warzone. You can't use them all in regular multiplayer. So if you
Yeah.
bought like a fancy, like I don't know, Rick Grimes or Homelander skin, as far as I know, you can't use that in
Not as
regular.
far as I know,
Yeah,
unless I would imagine now to kind of give some caveat to that. I'd like to believe that if somehow, I mean, I don't know if this is an idle threat of, hey, listen, Warzone, it's costing so much to keep running. If they don't, if the players don't come back, we're not doing Warzone 3. I don't know if you walk away from that, but I also would like to believe that if you did spend money there, that would have to come over with you to Black Ops or Modern Warfare. You couldn't just lose it all.
yeah. I mean, if you go back like 20, well, not 20, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were all buying map packs, and that was how, like, really think about it, Call of Duty never used to have microtransactions, right? We used to buy the game, and that was it. And then every 3 or 4 months, you'd shell out £15
Yeah.
and get out 3 or 4 maps and maybe a zombies mode, right? It was really cool. By the way, I think that was a better system. But like ever since they introduced microtransactions, people are just buy like Call of Duty has this cutoff point every year where hey, you're gonna stop getting maps, you're gonna stop getting updates, and by the way, the microtransactions you've been spending money on for a year and all your battle pass items, they don't continue forward. So like every November you get hard reset, but with Modern Warfare 3 being effectively an extension, an expansion, all your stuff carried forward. But with Black Ops, your stuff doesn't carry forward unless you play Warzone. And maybe it's an engine thing. I don't know. But like if there's a full-on hard cutoff and Warzone is no longer a thing next gen, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people with their skins.
Yep.
And like, look what came out recently, the Terminator skin, right? A lot of people like that skin. Some people think it's unfair. But like, what if you can't use that skin in Modern Warfare 4? Right? That's what, £15 someone's just literally thrown down the toilet. And I think that's one of Fortnite's biggest advantages. Fortnite Battle Royale came out in 2017, yet the skins you bought then still work now, because they just keep evolving the game. So like, that's the Warzone part. And I think Modern Warfare 4 next year has a chance to be huge, because remember the marketing campaign for Black Ops 6. Like, they had the replacer guy, the marketing was just so on point. They had the memes every day, and like the omnidirectional movement that might not even continue next year. Apparently, Infinity Ward do not like omnidirectional movement. So
I hope they don't take that away, dude, because I don't know if I could play without it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, being able to run from side to side and backwards feels so good, and diving through windows, you literally feel like Chuck Norris, right? It just works so well. But like, if they nail the campaign, it's going to be great, and I think they will, because they've actually had time. But I mean, it's going to be an interesting time altogether for Call of Duty, because like this year, a Black Ops 2 sequel, and Black Ops 2 is highly regarded as possibly
one of the best in the series.
Yeah, one of the best in the series. Like the launch for Black Ops 2, like, I put it like this for people that are listening. I live in a very small city, a cathedral city called Durham, right? It's northeast of England. There's no big stadiums here. It's just a huge cathedral where Harry Potter and Avengers Endgame were shot, right? Outside of that, it's just a very small city. But when Black Ops 2 came out, there were posters everywhere. There were pubs that had signs on that saying, "Hey, if you buy 4 pints, you get a free T-shirt," type thing. Like, the Black Ops 2 was everywhere. I mean, hell, there was demo stations in one of our theaters where you could play a Black Ops. So like, in a small city, they were pushing marketing like that so hard, and like Black Ops 2 was possibly one of the biggest game launches of all time at that point. So like, this year is going to be big for Call of Duty, but I think the biggest things going forward is the Warzone 3 thing. Like, if it happens, in moving away from like last generation consoles, and what are we going to be able to get on a next generation? Because this generation, we've had 4K, we've had 60 and all that stuff. We've had 120 frames per second. Hell, even the Series S does 120 frames per second. Like, I want to see what a next generation Xbox in 2026 can actually do with Call of Duty going forward, because the set pieces we have now look absolutely insane. There's a set piece near the end of Black Ops 6 where you're attached to a helicopter and you're swinging through a building, shooting at zombies, kind of. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's only about a minute long, but it's one of the best set pieces in Call of Duty history. And I would love to see what they can do pushing next generation technology, and even this generation, because the consoles we have now are bloody powerful, but developers don't get anywhere near the amount of power out of those systems. So yeah, it's going to be exciting for Call of Duty.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do, but I am going to say, though, again, this is a rumor, folks, and Hope usually gets it right. I mean, listen, with leaks and rumors, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But we've been hearing 2026 for over a year now, which was originally targeting when Xbox would do their next launch. Now, there's been some talk that, as somebody in the chat actually made mention of it, that he's hearing that it could be 2027, and he's not wrong. I am going to say that I actually have heard from 2 different sources regarding PlayStation, and I don't think that, again, this is all rumor stuff. They may not be ready to go to 28. So maybe that's Xbox's way of saying, "Hey, listen, we don't need to go in 26 because we're still going to have a jump on them." Who knows? But again, according to the Ghost of Hope, supposedly the next Modern Warfare 4 by Infinity Ward is being developed not only for current gen consoles only, which is a big difference from what they're doing this year. It's still involving the PS4 Pro, PS4, Xbox One X and S. That's not going to happen next year. It's being developed for only the Series X and S, PS5 and PS5 Pro, as well as the new and next generation Xbox. First of all, let's welcome in our good brother, Infinite Number, kind sir. Good morning. How you feeling?
Those who lack the will
Oh, I love it. I love it.
must be destroyed, Boom.
That sounds like the Arbiter for some reason. I don't know. Are we talking Halo? What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm good, Boom. How are you guys today?
Well, we're doing good. We do appreciate the demonic voice over. I'm sure it's just some people that are shaking in their boots.
Yeah, figured I would scare some folks here in the morning and wake them up. I needed to.
Like, what are we listening to?
Like, oh my
That is
God.
Umbra. He is possessed, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
my Lord, what did I tune into? Turn from that demon station.
King Webb
Yes.
wanted you to. Actually, King Webb is asking a question. Can you say that voice in Xbox World Domination?
Let's see.
Xbox World Domination.
There you go, King Webb. That's for you, brother. Right, it's good to have you here, brother. Listen, we got the Tony Hawk stuff that we originally were going to talk about. The announcement's been delayed, but it's been leaked, so who cares, right? We already talked about it for a few seconds. We are talking, though, and I know you just heard me make mention of it, Modern Warfare 4, which is Infinity Ward's next foray in the series. That is supposedly, according to Ghost of Hope, who is a very credible Call of Duty leaker, is saying that the next-gen version, the next version of Modern Warfare, which is going to be Modern Warfare 4, is only for current gens, which I think is a big deal. Get people to now move over to the console, whether it be the series, whether it be the PS, or whether it be a PC. Let them finally move over. That's fine. But the interesting, and I think the most important aspect here, Umbra, is there is a next generation version that they are working on for the new hardware that was originally rumored for 2026. This game is rumored to be releasing next year during the holiday. It's kind of starting to line up one-to-one. No, I mean, again, next year is a big year for Xbox. It's their 25th anniversary for both the platform, Master Chief, and Combat Evolved. It's the 20th anniversary for Gears, and there's a lot going on next year. Like I said, I think the cherry on top of this Banana Boat Sunday is 2 new pieces of hardware and a next-gen version of Modern Warfare 4, which is going to be fan-freaking-tastic. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, to me, yeah, you're right. It does lend credence to the thought that next year could be the release of the next-gen consoles. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that this won't be, at least it won't be the full release of next gen. A lot of us did speculate that it will be the handheld first that launches. So maybe that could be it. Maybe that might be the case, but I don't think the full release of the next gen console happens until 2027. Something tells me that. I don't know what it is, but like the way that the releases of what we are getting game wise and everything else, doesn't seem like Xbox or Sony are ready to move to the next gen just
I
yet.
heard Sony is 28, bro. Like, I actually heard that from 2 different people. And again, I'm not breaking any NDAs or stories. It's just talking a couple of DMs that I heard. But the people that I'm speaking to believe that Sony's next launch, the PS6, as it were, not to 2028. That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's no more crazier than them not even having real, major first party titles like they're used to.
I mean,
So,
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that'll give them a chance to kind of, load up on some titles. But I feel like, we might be a bit ahead of ourselves. It could be the handheld, though. I don't want to write that off because that was a very popular rumor that the handheld would come first. So that could be the case, that the handheld launches first, or whatever smaller, what's the word I want to use? I guess smaller SKU, if you will, or less powerful SKU. So that could be it. right? I don't want to. I guess I'll kind of hedge my bet there and say that. But I feel like next gen for Xbox is not going to come that soon. So I don't know what it is, but I don't see it. I don't sense an urgency for Xbox to move into next gen just yet. Personally,
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, so I'm on both sides of this coin, Umbra, and I'll give you back to Mike in a second, but I do want to add some caveat, to what you're saying. Like right now, Xbox Series X and S is just not selling. Right? They're having trouble moving the needle. That folks, that's not console war rhetoric. That's facts. The numbers don't lie. They've been declining for the last couple of quarters. Now, why is that? Well, people can still play games on old consoles, and that includes the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, I'm not saying that people that are playing on PS4 Pros are going to somehow switch over to Xbox unless they finally get a taste of what Xbox Game Pass is doing. And when something like Grand Theft Auto comes out potentially this year, it is going to move people off of those old consoles because they won't be able to play it. If there's one game that's going to move a person from old last gen onto new gen, whether that be a PS5, a PS5 Pro, or a Series console, that's the game to do it. Interestingly enough, I know I saw Sin in the chat discussing why there hasn't been any bundles for Xbox and more specifically their consoles as well as the Black Ops 6. There's reasons for that. Apparently, the contract with Sony didn't end until the clock hit midnight and the new year started. So apparently, at the end of December, December 31st, 2024, that is when the contract for the marketing for PlayStation was officially up, right? So I would imagine that this year you're going to see a marketing blitz with Xbox branded consoles having, something Call of Duty, whether it be the old one, the new one, or both in the box. That will, of course, I think, move some consoles, and maybe the combination, Umbra, between Modern Warfare, the two Black Ops games, right? Obviously, Black Ops 6, the sequel to Black Ops 2, and Grand Theft Auto may move some people over to Xbox and they start selling consoles again. And maybe that thought process is like, hey, we don't need to rush this box out. But if they did the handheld like you're suggesting, that's still hardware.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I say I hedged the bet a little bit because I have heard the rumor of the handheld way too many times. So I feel like that could be the case. Like we might get a VGA reveal of it, which makes perfect sense this year. And then like next year we'll actually get the hardware. So it's possible. I don't want to say it's not possible. This year is going to be something else though, because it's going to be a lot of stuff people are not going to like. But so and you probably know what I mean, but
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So I feel like that could kind of cap off the year and say, hey, look, I know you're feeling a way about this, but look at this hardware we got coming for you next year. Right? Like that could be it. So I will say maybe the handheld. Listen, I could be completely, my guess could be wrong. They could have both. I just feel like energy wise, it doesn't feel like they need to have a next gen release just yet. If that makes sense. I feel like Xbox is doing like beside the lack of hardware sales, or at least comparable to PlayStation or Nintendo. Because it's not like they're not selling anything. It's just very, very low compared with a 5-1, I guess, to PlayStation, right? But they're doing great otherwise as far as sales and software. And hell, I mean, look at Forza Horizon 5 be pre-sales over on PlayStation and such. So they're doing well as far as software. They're doing well. I mean, obviously, Call of Duty just one of the top chart toppers and stuff like that.
Yep.
So like they're making money, hand over fist still. The people were just in the mindset of the traditional mindset of, well, console sales, blah blah blah. But that's not really Microsoft's thing right now. They're software leading now, so they're still making their money. How they go about making it, I don't really care, as long as they get enough where they can keep giving me games, right? I personally don't care how they do it. They could go door to door to selling cookies for all I care. But I think that all of that together, it tells me a little bit that, at least informs me, that I don't think they are in any rush to say we got to sell some consoles. You know what I mean? So that's could be, especially because they're more software leading now. So I feel like they could wait a year, but they still do want to kind of get that year sweet spot before Sony. They did that with the 360, if you all remember. So that would make sense for it to launch in 27, or and hell, if they did it in 26 before Sony, and until Sony comes out in 28, like you said, possibly, rather, that's even better. But I would venture to say 2027 might be the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, either way, I'm excited for this. But this, I think, though, if anything, and the more I thought about it, the more I feel like this could kind of, seal the deal for a lot of people who were kind of worried about the whole next gen thing, right? You see this type of article, and the more you think about it, it's like, well, they got Call of Duty. Do they want to just eliminate all Xbox sales and microtransactions and such by not having
it
any
makes
hardware?
no sense to do that, right?
It
Like
makes none. Yeah.
yes.
So that's another reason why I'm like so assured that they're not leaving out of the hardware business anytime soon. And even if they personally don't do it, there will be different OEMs that come out to make them, you know what I mean, in some different way. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm thinking they're going to have different manufacturers make their, like we talked about this before, their own Xbox approved versions of Xbox with different tiers of power and such. Like, I don't think they're ever leaving in any way. They're just not, maybe they might evolve past the traditional idea of what an Xbox console is. You know what I mean? So I don't think anybody has any reason to worry. I'm being dead serious when I say that. And I know people are like, yeah, but what about my Xbox? I think you'll be fine. Honestly.
I personally don't understand the fear mongering. Again, people are going to go right back to, well, Phil lies and Sarah lies, and so does Matt Booty, and their Xbox are liars. Listen, I'm not here to fight with you folks. I've met the people in real life. I understand what they're trying to do here. They're in third place. The industry is changing in a way so rapidly that even the big companies are being shook to its core. Look what's happening at Ubisoft. Look what's happening at Tencent, folks. And I keep bringing this up, and it's a story that nobody wants to admit is happening. It broke last week that they potentially could shutter a dozen studios because even the mighty Tencent, who has money enough to buy 1,000 planets if they wanted to, is having to tighten the belt. And why is that? Because people are spending less. Obviously, there was overinvestment during the pandemic because of the numbers, and now this is post pandemic situation we're dealing with, where you're on a regular basis, folks, seeing studio after studio after studio close. Folks, that's something to be super concerned about. And again, I understand that maybe it's not a studio that you know, right? Maybe it's a studio that you didn't buy their game because you don't even know who they are, and that's very fair, because we don't buy every game that we see. But these are still human beings that are losing their jobs. They're losing the ability to keep the lights on. And I think that you're starting to see that there are ramifications for that through these closures. And like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Microsoft will continue to get the arrows because they're doing things, they're front facing, and change isn't good for anybody. Most humans don't like change, and they're making some big changes. That change is putting games on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch too. A lot of us old dudes, we don't like it, but it is something we have to accept, and we have to then fall back on what's the most important thing for us as Xbox gamers. It's you're getting first party development because now that is being funded by PlayStation owners who are buying the games. Switch owners are buying the games. That will continue to funnel money into the furnace, and of course that cog is going to keep moving. And as long as they keep filling the coffers with games and Xbox Game Pass, we're eating good, right? Like I said, there's been conversation. I actually saw an article. I normally don't comment on stupidity, but this one particular journalist, which of course we don't name names here because we don't want anybody bullied, actually asked a question about, is the price for Forza Horizon 5 too high at $59 and $69.99? And that leads me to believe that, wait a second, and go read my tweet. Again, I'm not going to talk about it because we got to get into Gears, but I simply said the author asks if the price is too high, but then goes into PSN and buys The Last of Us 2 for the third time at full boat. Like, are we serious? Like, are we kidding me with some of these journalists? But listen, great points all around. Modern Warfare potentially, folks, being rumored to be in production for the next Xbox. Is that 2026? Has that plan be moved on to 2027? Is next year the handheld only? Only time is going to tell. But again, shout out to Tom Henderson and, of course, his website, which is oh my God, let me just pull up the thing. Insider Gaming, who posted the article yesterday, and I thought it was pretty good read. And again, shout out to Ghost of Hope for breaking the story. Like I said, I don't know him personally, but every time I have read stuff from him, it's legit. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's entirely up to you. But gentlemen, we got to go to a story from our very good friends at XboxEra.com. Now, obviously, we're all good friends with Jesse Norris, who wrote this particular story. John and Special Nick, great human beings. Have had a chance to hang out with John. Hopefully, we'll hook back up this June during all the the E3 festivities. Maybe Nick will find his way over there. I hope Jesse goes as well. It'd be great to kind of just hang out and meet, and in IRL, as the kids like to say. But this particular story is very interesting, and it involves Gears of War, gentlemen. Now, according to Jesse Norris, who wrote the story for XboxEra.com, it says Ecstasies, which of course is a Spanish YouTuber who has massive connections, ladies and gentlemen. I know him personally, and the guy does not talk out the side of his neck. He does have great sources. Well, according to Ecstasies, Gears of War E-Day, which was debuted last June, is happening and being released in 2026. And the Gears of War collection, that announcement apparently is happening in June during the showcase for both the Xbox Series XS and PS5. Now, there was a lot of back and forth with a lot of people in the community of which way it was going to go. Was Gears of War E-Day this year and the collection next year to kind of celebrate the 20th anniversary of the actual IP? I actually think that made sense. But now we're hearing it the other way around, where the Gears of War collection for both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 will be announced. Now, they didn't say it was going to be released in June. I would imagine that could come the way of a holiday release later this year. And again, this is all speculation, but I do want to read verbatim from the article. And I will have this article linked in the show notes if you want to read it yourself. According to Jesse Norris, Ecstasies has put out a new video which claims that Gears of War E-Day is aiming for a 2026 release, and that the long-rumored Gears of War collection, or the Marcus Phoenix collection, ladies and gentlemen, will be announced as a full multi-platform release this June. Now, again, I'm going to read verbatim according to what Ecstasy said during his video, and this is what it said. A source told Ecstasies that Gears of War E-Day is scheduled for 2026, with a very slim possibility of being moved forward to 2025. The source also told him the long-desired Gears of War collection is currently scheduled for 2025, with a reveal set for the Xbox showcase this year. The game is also coming to PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC day one. As of the writing, there is no information on the Nintendo Switch 2 port, so it's likely that it's not in the works as yet. So that's where it ends. Now, before, gentlemen, we bring you in to get your hot takes on this, I do want to catch up on some super chats. And we're going to start first with our generous friend, Will, the broke boy Lewis. He says, he drops a very generous $5 super chat. Will goes on to say, until I see an official announcement for Gears, no credibility. It was predicted at every Xbox show since last year's summer showcase by the same person. And I get it, brother. I absolutely get it. I look, this is me speculating, folks. Please take this with an absolute ginormous grain of salt. Why hasn't the Gears of War collection launched as of yet? In my personal opinion, it was to make it a multi-platform release. That's, again, I am not hearing that from anyone. Whether you want to believe it or throw virtual tomatoes, that's happening, folks. Don't be surprised by that happening anymore. It is happening. Now, I can tell you for a fact, I know there's some rumors out there about Fable. I spoke to 2 different sources, and they're rock solid. That is not why Fable was delayed. Fable was delayed to give the team more time, not to make a PlayStation 5 version. Will there be one eventually? Yes. Is there one in development now? As far as I know, no. They are hard at work at releasing it for Xbox and PC. End quote. So we'll see, Will. And I appreciate the generosity as always. We have John Gracie in the chat. Well, John, first of all, brother, thank you so much for the generosity. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. He goes on to say, AMD just released the new super powerful APU, which puts it ready for the new Xbox. That's a very interesting point there, John. Again, I'm not a PC head, but I can tell you that kind of leads me to believe that's 2026, but it could be 2027. Will the broke boy Lewis drops an additional very generous $10 super chat. And he says, I think Microsoft killed the sales of consoles for this generation, not because games to the other platform, but because they keep saying new hardware is coming. People may not be buying and waiting for that. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I just think that, they need to be better in letting people know that you can get these 2 pieces of unbelievable hardware and incorporate something like Game Pass. Their advertising has always been so subpar, especially with Game Pass. Does that change this year? Well, I hope so. I really do. But again, I keep paying for Game Pass. They keep putting games in. They keep making hardware, which they already confirmed to be doing it. I'll buy hardware. And if I can get a $1,500 Xbox by somebody else like a Lenovo or an Alienware, I will buy that. And I'll be more than happy to spend that money because it would be just like me buying a rig, which I don't want no part of. But I will buy the box that's already built and just throw it underneath the TV, and that would be great. But lastly, we have Adidas20, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $2 super chat. It says Microsoft became a $1 trillion company off of software. I mean, that's where they made their money, and they are going to continue that trend with what they're doing. I mean, listen, folks, they are the world's biggest publisher. I don't know how that is looked upon as an L. To me, it's a little weird, especially in certain circles, the energy that these weirdos like to run with. And again, we know who the weirdos are. We don't name names here because, we don't want to embarrass anybody. But these circles that run around that somehow Xbox is losing, yeah, they're losing console sales, sure, but they're winning the money wars. And like I said, I don't give a shit because it's not going into my coffers. It's not paying for our first home, right? That's not happening. But as a consumer, I'm winning. And if you're an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, guess what? Well, you have won as well. But Jamie Moran, let's get into Gears of War because we've been talking about this story, it seems like over a year, right? The Gears of War collection, which of course is rumored to be called the Marcus Phoenix Collection, remade from the ground up. And Umbra, will come back to you, brother, in Unreal Engine 5, which is going to be amazing. Now, I also have heard that some of the original cutting room footage, because that's what happens with film, it happens with games. they're making the game. Some things get cut for time. Something gets cut for memory. Some of those original set pieces that were not in Gears 2, were not in Gears 3. Again, this is a rumor, folks, could find its way into this collection the same way that you had that PC only level for the original Gears of War that was added to, of course, the Ultimate Collection. And again, it's a rumor. The Gears of War collection is supposed to include Gears 1, 2, and 3 redone from the ground up. Well, apparently, according to Xbox Era's report from Ecstasies, we thought it was reverse order. It turns out that the Gears of War collection this year is going to get announced during June. That's going to be a big announcement. I'm going to be ass and seat there, ladies and gentlemen, and I will be covering it live for you there. Jamie, let's get your thoughts on the report from Xbox Era.
Oh, I feel like we've been talking about the Gears of War collection forever. I mean, look, you know, I love Gears of War. It's one of my favorite franchises, and I think to come out with a collection for the longest time has made a lot of sense. You know, they did the same with Halo Master Chief Collection. Granted, it launched in a terrible state, but now it's a beautiful product.
Yeah, chef's kiss.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to Gears, like already you can play them at 4K 60, right? So they already look good, they play good. Like I think the only way you get people really interested is if the basically remakes like Ultimate Edition. That's what Ultimate Edition is. You know, they remade every asset. The only thing that's the same is the voice acting. You know, it has the cut PC content. The visuals were gorgeous. So, like, if they do Ultimate Edition style for like 2 and 3, I'll be happy because like Gears of War 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I've played through that campaign probably 20 times, and I do not get sick of it at all. So if it's on that level, I'll be happy. The interesting thing is, will it include the multiplayer? Because
interesting,
Gears 1 through 3, the multiplayer, it's kind of different from each other, just slightly. And then you have the horde modes, which are very different from each other. So like, who knows what's going to happen there? Judgment being left on the table. I know people might like or dislike that, but I think it makes, like, outside of the multi-platform stuff, it just makes sense. People have been asking for this for a very long time. Like, hell, I've been asking for this since Ultimate Edition first came out. So I can totally see it happening. Like I said last week, it makes sense to put that out this year and then hype up E-Day, which is the fancy new game. And I think Gears fans are very they're hungry, right? It's been a long time since we've had Gears of War content, and I think the last time we had major, third-person shooter Gears of War content was Hivebusters in 2020. So it's been a while, and I think people are ready. I'm just excited to see what they could do with it because, like, look, if this is just the versions we have already, but they are native Xbox versions with 4K 60 like what we have now, you know what? I'll still play them. I'll get the achievements, but they have to be Ultimate Edition style games, and that is a tall thing to ask for because those are full remakes. Every asset built from the ground up, especially for that version. So, like, I hope they do that because, like, even though Gears of War 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, what they could do with Gears 3 visually, my God, like Gears 3 back on the 360 was pushing that machine to its bloody limit. And I'd love to see what they could do with Unreal Engine 5, all the fancy new features, maybe import Ultimate Edition into Gears of War 5 and put, fancy new lighting into that. But it will be interesting because, when this comes out, there'll be a Switch 2 out in the mix. People keep talking about PlayStation, but I think the Switch 2 is actually the more interesting platform because that thing's going to basically outsell everything, and it's not even out yet, And, the handheld market's picking up. I think, like, you have people in chat doing the Xbox doom and gloom and stuff over the multi-platform stuff. Like, we already know this multi-platform stuff's happening. And like you're saying, Boom, like, Xbox's problem with marketing is that, right? They tend to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. Like Xbox is my favorite platform, right? I honestly think PlayStation is a boring platform, right? There's no first party content. Everyone's talking about Xbox games, and when they do get games, they either remasters, they make their consumers upgrade and pay to upgrade for their games, and people are just talking about multi-platform stuff because that's all they've got, you know. But Xbox, they do these things where they have this amazing lineup of games coming, including like they have so many new titles coming out that when they come out with a remaster or a collection, that's a bonus game, right? That's a bonus game, and
which very well may be Oblivion, which is rumored to be announced at this show as well. And there's your bonus.
And like that's another bonus game, but you also have like Xbox does mess up. So like even though they have these great games coming, they announced the Xbox Series X a year before the console comes out, so they kill off Xbox One X sales. They talk about multi-platform stuff at the beginning of 2024, and it makes everyone freak out. We saw people lose their marbles on Twitter. And people were acting like it was the end of the world. Do you know what normal people, not normal gamers that don't spend their life on social media, they don't listen to gaming podcasts or even watch gaming news, like actual Xbox gamers that take up the majority of gamers, they have no idea this stuff's going on, by the way. They have no idea. But Xbox, they do mess up with these things. Marketing isn't their best strong suit. They have the best console on the market that has backwards compatibility with 3 previous generations. And it doesn't mention anywhere on the box that it has backwards compatibility with 360 titles, even though it's one of their biggest features. It's not even on there. So, I'm straying away from gays here, but I just want to make a point that,
no, please, by all means, this is a conversational podcast. So, by all,
like Xbox's biggest problem for 20 years was that, hey, they don't have enough studios to put out games regularly. That was essentially it, right? No matter all their faults, right? Like the original Xbox didn't really have any controversies around it. The 360 is their best-selling console of all time, but it had the worst launch. It had a 50% failure rate to the point where Steve Ballmer basically had to write a check for over $1 billion to fix the problem, right? And they made a power move. But through that generation, they've released a handful of games, but each one sold over like 10 million copies. And then with the Xbox One, you had the DRM thing. But with the Xbox Series consoles, what's actually gone wrong? Like, what's the controversy? That they want to put games on other platforms. Like, that's the thing that's made people freak out. It's not back in 2005 where everyone was buying a 360 and it was breaking. It wasn't 2013 when they had an Xbox One come out and the entire media was against them. Everything was, hey, DRM this, 720p that. They have an amazing console right now, and they have an amazing lineup of games. And despite all that, you have the competition that aren't putting out basically a roadmap for their consumers outside of a few games. They're charging they get nickel and dimes. They are charged for cloud saves. Nobody bats an eye. Yet Xbox wants to put some games on PlayStation, and it's the end of the universe, heat death of the universe. And it's like we see the rest of the industry crumbling all around. You have Take-Two, you have Ubisoft, EA firing these developers left and right, studios closing down, Monolith shut down, even though they put out consistent good games, So like this industry, it's in a weird place at the minute. Xbox putting games on other platforms, it is a bit of a freaky thing, right? It's weird, but does that really make me as an Xbox fan not an Xbox fan anymore? I prefer the platform, I prefer the features, and I prefer the games. And honestly, the platform's better, the community's better. So
the controller's better.
The controller's better, the controller's comfortable. We have proper achievements. Like the Xbox UI is actually, you have this integrated ecosystem where I can play my 360 games and pull my saves from the cloud. By the way, last year I pulled a save from Oblivion from 2008, right? Because I wanted some footage. And like that, and that the biggest benefit of PC gaming is what backwards compatibility. You can play games going back to like Zork and Pong, right? You know, Xbox they have backwards compatibility going 3 generations. So yeah, Gears of War, a bit of a tangent. Gears of War going to other platforms, it does seem a bit weird, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect me. I'm gonna play the game on my preferred platform with a good controller that doesn't feel like it's going to break, where the thumbsticks aren't next to each other. By the way, I don't know why anyone finds that comfortable. Asymmetrical is the way to go. But like the Gears of War collection, we've been wanting this since 2015, the Marcus Phoenix collection. If they do it right in its Ultimate Edition style, and it has maybe, you know, the multiplayer and the Horde mode, they're going to have an excellent product. But if it's just a bare bones port of the games we already have,
I don't think it's gonna be, dude. They've been working on this particular. Again, it's rumor, folks. Take it with a grain of salt. They're working on this for years, and it was them to hone their skills for Unreal Engine 5. This was I don't want to use the word test bed, but it was them to get better at using Unreal Engine 5, which we've seen them not only do for themselves based on the simple trailer that we saw, but they've also helped Obsidian with Avowed. They helped Ninja Theory with Hellblade 2. So there is a team that goes around that was comprised of people that worked at the coalition. This quote unquote mystery A team that they're they exist, folks, and they're going around from studio to studio training people to use Unreal Engine 5. I don't think this is going to be like, a color by number kind of a situation. I think what we're going to get is going to be incredibly impressive.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think it's going to be on the Ultimate Edition side. I'm just saying that if it's, just a port, which I doubt it will be. But I will say this. We're not seeing release dates for a lot of games this year because, big old scary Rockstar games. Like a lot of developers are just waiting for them to put their the bloody release date out for Grand Theft Auto. I do think that Microsoft will release the Gears collection in August.
It's possible right before the holiday. Sure, that makes sense. They announced it in June. They release it in August. That'd be great.
Yeah, because like it's going to be a packed year, and will Microsoft still have a big game for the end of the year? Who really cares at this point? Everyone's going to be buying Grand Theft Auto. But like, it's going to be a good year, and plus, when you have a good year already, and then you throw Gears of War collection and Oblivion remake, which is that's basically meant to be coming out by July. If anyone really complains, then what can I do? But as a consumer on Xbox, I'm perfectly happy.
Yeah, I see a lot of people. Shout out to Nate. First of all, great points all around, Jamie. Nady Nay in the chat. Welcome back, brother. Nice to see you here. He said the Tony Hawk just revealed the game. Yeah, listen, we'll probably get into it tomorrow or even Thursday or Friday. At this point, we knew it was coming out. The cat's out of the bag. We were supposed to have the information an hour before the show went live, and they delayed it. I'll check it out afterwards. But I again appreciate all the information. I
was going to say, Boom, you could possibly like highlight the video of it.
It just got announced.
I could do that. You know what? Let me find.
It's up to you.
Hold on just a second. You know what? As I look for it, I do want to get Infinite Number your thoughts and your theories regarding the reverse order now. Again, we had originally thought that Gears of War E-Day happening this year, Gears of War, the Marcus Phoenix collection happening next year. Now, I originally thought that made sense because what you would ultimately do is get where Gears started and then, of course, get where Gears went, celebrating the 20th anniversary. Well, that order, according to Ecstasies, has been reversed. It is now going to be at the June showcase, we will get a reveal of the Marcus Phoenix collection or the Gears of War collection, which is containing Unreal Engine 5 versions of 1, 2, and 3, redone from the ground up. Now, what does that include? I have absolutely no idea. I know Jamie would be disappointed if it was just a single-player game. I actually wouldn't care because I never played multiplayer anyway, but I know some people would. And maybe it is, Horde mode. Maybe it is the full-on, multiplayer mode. But apparently, according to Ecstasy's and his particular sources, and he does have credible sources, that is happening. That announcement's coming this June. That's going to be really big. And of course, Gears of War E-Day not being moved up from 2026. It is going to release in that year rather than be pushed up to 2025. Let's get your thoughts on the new report coming the way of Xbox Era via Ecstasy's.
Yeah, it actually fits all into what I thought before. We talked about this before, and I said I believed E-Day would be 2026, if not 2027 for the next gen release. That was my thought. Two, it always made more sense to bring out the original collection first before you go to E-Day. To me, even though E-Day is a throwback, is visually superior. So for me, I felt like, yeah, you want to get these other players who haven't had a chance to play the Gears of War series to get in on the ground floor from 1 through 3 first. That was my thinking, which is possibly just to throw it out there. I don't think this is the case. I heard it wasn't the case, but you never know. That, you know, they did this in order to make sure that PlayStation got the release on time as well. We don't know. I don't want to speculate that that's the case, but because I'm hearing it's not. But it does line up oddly enough where it's like, oh, we just so happen to be delayed, and because we've been hearing about this for so long. If anything, I would say that would make tickle me a little bit is the fact that finally, or as The Rock would say, finally, finally, Special Nick can rest his soul, because this man had been talking about this for the better part of 2 years now, where he's been saying this, a year and a half. He's been talking about this for so long, and it has not come to, as Boom would say, fruition. It would be something special to finally see this happen. He can finally claim his W through the adversity all this time, and then just kick back and then bask in the joy and then in glory. So yeah, but I'm excited as hell for it. But I will say, something tells me too that it will possibly be just single player. It doesn't feel, in my heart of hearts, I don't feel like they're going to give us the multiplayer suite fully. At least maybe the horde mode or something. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see where they take it. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is just me. I'm not a developer, right? I'm a gamer, like everyone in the chat right here. Which, by the way, we have 820 people watching live. That is freaking crazy. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Whether you're watching it on X or Twitter, watching it on YouTube, or the 1 or 2 people that actually watch it on Twitch, thank you so much for checking it out. We super appreciate it. To try and get that many multiplayer maps into this game, I don't know. I mean, it seems like an impossible task. But then again, what the heck do I know? I'm not a developer. Look, this is me being very, very selfish. Extremely selfish. I apologize, multiplayer fans. Our brother, Crispy Bomb, is probably throwing tomatoes at the screen right now. Look, if they did what I originally thought, that they took Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, and they said, listen, we got to get really fluent with with Unreal Engine 5 for Gears E-Day. Let's remake this franchise using the tools, build it from the bottom up. If time is obviously of the essence. It's supposedly going to release as a multi-plat. Not only is it going to PlayStation 5, Series X, but it's going to PC as well. I personally do the single player. That's just me. I know get some booze in here. People are going to be like, yeah, I want the multiplayer. I get it. I understand exactly what you're saying. But I don't know if time allows for a trilogy remade from the ground up that includes multiplayer as well, Umbra. But it's a good question nonetheless.
That's my thinking. I don't think it will either. But I mean, I'm up to being wrong. I mean, it has been a long while for them finally for this to come out. So maybe, you never know. But I feel like since it's just a remake and they'll be coming out with E-Day a year later or so, it feels to me like at a point the having it be that is multiplayer component in there would cut off by the time E-Day comes out. So I don't know how that would all work out, or maybe they'll do some type of MCC style thing or something. I don't know. But currently, I don't see why they would have that. And then with E-Day arriving right after, how would they handle that? Because I'm sure E-Day is going to have multiplayer. Have the
there's no doubt that it's going to have multiplayer, that for sure.
Yeah. So that's my thinking. That's more reason why, because I feel like they'd have to kind of have a cutoff for the servers for that to move to E-Day, or maybe they'll merge it somehow, or maybe they just be like, hell, we'll have both. I mean, you never know. I guess they could. It's not like they're confined to those rules, right? They could be like, no, we're gonna have both. Go play that on the line if you want to against people, or come here and play this version of E-Days on new gen version of it online against each other. I don't know. We'll see. I'll say that. But I am excited to finally see it. I cannot wait to see what magic they put on this game using the almighty Unreal Engine 5. I cannot.
The
wait
almighty. There you go,
the
sir.
almighty.
Yeah.
I had to shine it up real nice just once at least. Yes. So no, listen, hey, Cullen Prime, I get it, brother. He said,
yeah, I was literally just going to shout him out. He says, looks like I missed most of the show. I was up all night playing Avowed. Good on you, brother. Good for you.
Speaking of that, a nice little segue. I have the advert ready already. Wrapping up. I'm still playing, right? I haven't finished.
Good for you, man.
I'm at the end.
How many days have you gotten into it now? Obviously,
last I looked, I was 3 days. Let me see.
Okay.
Let me look. But so this week, Saturday, for all of you guys who are playing Avowed or who have played and have finished it, I would like for you guys to come by my channel. I'm going to post an advert for it on Twitter. We're doing a roundtable discussion for Avowed. So we're going to do our live review of it and a discussion. So we're going to do a discussion and a review. I want to get you guys feedback and stuff like that too. So when you post it, be on the lookout for it and come by and check us out. Let's see. I am 4 days.
Good for you,
4 days, 4 hours, and 35 minutes. So yeah, I put some time in. I've checked everywhere. I told you I would. And I found everything. And
good for you, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of Avowed. I got to tell you, I'm at the end of it right now. I'm going to probably finish it up today, but I just had so much other stuff to get organized with the new PC setup and all that. But yeah, super great game. They did a good job. I will say I had a fluctuating thing. I know I'm kind of deviating from my topics, but I had a thing where I went from an 8.5 to a 9 back to an 8.5.
Okay, that's fair.
And it was because of certain things that where it's like kind of bare bones on some elements, right? And that's not to say it's bad. It's just not as great as it could have been in some areas. But I'm so excited by what they did.
But even an 8.5 is a phenomenal score.
Yeah,
and I know to some audiences that's rubbish, but it's actually not.
Not at all. Not at all. And to me also it also what it really does for me is get me excited for the sequel, the eventual sequel.
Yeah, you know what? I think they're gonna take a large amount of the both negative and positive feedback, and it's Obsidian. They don't normally miss, but I am gonna say, and we don't have it in front of us yet. The Outer Worlds was a phenomenal RPG experience.
It was great
on everything, the weapons, the environments, the music, the story. Most important for me is the character, your crew involvement and how you can help them and how those stories transitioned into things that you would ultimately miss, right? If you didn't bother, talking with them. I think you're going to see a very different, in a good way, the Outer Worlds 2 versus 1. And I would imagine, and again, this is just, speculation, folks, that when we get to Avowed 2, whenever that may be, you're going to see a huge jump because the bones are so good that they're going to be building off of. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, man. Super excited for that too, with Outer Worlds 2 and everything else. Yeah, and Obsidian, we trust. They have my full trust going forward. I doubted some people. I feel silly that I doubted like Machine Games before, and then I got to Indiana Jones. I'm like, this game is excellent. I don't know. I have to stop doubting them. I don't know what's going on with me. I think I gave in to pessimism or something. I don't know. But they have turned in some. We've had a slew of great releases from Xbox, and I honestly, and I'm not trying to say this to sound shield up. I just think that if you look at the roadmap they have going for Xbox, I don't think you can have any. If you're just being honest with yourself and not giving in to nonsense online, you have to be excited knowing you got some great stuff coming your way. I am. I'm telling you, I'm excited. I might not sound it because I am honestly tired right now, but I am very excited for the future of gaming just for Xbox. I mean, they got some crazy good releases coming this year. I've been seeing some of the feedback from Expedition 33 just that's coming to Game Pass. You know, they gave somebody got a little preview hands-on, and it's sounding so good. It sounded as great as I thought it was going to be. So we just got a lot of good stuff coming this year, man, and going forward. So just super excited.
Well, listen, again, great stuff all around, ladies and gentlemen. This has been one heck of a show, but it's not over just yet. Thanks to not only people in the community, I have it queued up. We're going to watch the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 reveal. I am not putting the sound. It is licensed music. I ain't getting a strike. So I'm going to tell you that right now. If you want to watch it, I'll add it to the show notes so you can watch it and play the music on your end. You're not going to get any music here because YouTube, it's funny like that, and we are not trying to get any strikes. I know this is the Xbox channel, and they probably wouldn't, but it is licensed music, so let me just cue that up. Let me get our faces on out of here, and we do the screen share, and you could watch it, and then we'll openly discuss it. Get your thoughts on it. Let me just blow up the screen here, and let me get back to here. Put that in, and just hide us. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna bring it up right now. You can watch the trailer. This is the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 reveal trailer. Just went live on YouTube. Let's check it out. All right, there you go.
Jamie, go ahead and sing the songs. Ace of Spades.
People don't need to hear that from me.
We Ace of Spades. Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, this looks fantastic. Well, what could you say? It's Tony Hawk. They did an amazing job on Tony Hawk 1 and 2. 3 and 4 look just as good, maybe even better.
Yeah, I do hope we get American Wasteland remade.
I would imagine if this sells well, then you're going to see them all remade. I mean, why wouldn't you want to make American, that particular version? Oh, wow, look, they're showing it back to, the side by side. That's dope. See, that's a big step up. Holy cow, that looks great.
Yeah, one of the items for the digital deluxe edition is a hoverboard that's Doom themed.
Yes, apparently there was a rumor that the Doom guy is going to be in there, which is bonkers.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few people mention this. It is coming to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Day 1. It's just the main trailer doesn't show it.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. All right, so we have seen it. Let me just go back to YouTube, and yeah, it's almost done. There you go. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Oh wow, look at that. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
That is pretty freaking dope. Let me stop the screen share there. Bring us back up. Bring us over here. So, Jamie, I'll go right to you. Again, no music, and I apologize for that, folks, but I'm not trying to get a strike. And, when it comes to the licensed music, it's always a real fine line to walk on. But we do have the information. Now, did anyone quickly see, because it was real fast when it's releasing, is it, in fact, July?
July 11th, yeah.
July 11th. So there you go.
Yep.
I'm going to pre-order it. I'm gonna get the deluxe edition. If there's an upgrade version to it, I'm gonna obviously get that through Xbox Game Pass, which again, it's in Game Pass, folks. If you haven't tried it, go freaking try it. It's in Game Pass. Let's get your thoughts on the side-by-side comparison from the old to the new. It looked really dope.
It looks great. Like if you look at the previous one, there was a huge jump between the originals on the original PlayStation to the remakes, and like they are fundamentally remakes. We can't call that a remaster. It looks phenomenal. Not just the environmental detail, the character detail, but there's like the explosions, the lighting, and all that stuff. Honestly, as someone that's been looking forward to seeing the show off, it looks phenomenal. Like, granted, the music for people that want to stream these types of games or post clips, it's a bit weird because of the licensed music, but I mean, it is part of the package. But I mean, I can't wait for this. And look, I think like when Xbox puts out these games now, they all do the whole, digital deluxe upgrade where if you play in Game Pass, you pay maybe $10, $15 or something. You get all the bonus goodies and you get it 2 days early. I think that's the best way of doing it, right? Rather than game prices going up to $80, you give people the opportunity to maybe spend a little tiny bit extra and, get it a little bit early. And the Doom skins look fantastic. Like, I'm not one to actually go for skins in video games. I just don't care. But to be able to play as the Doom Slayer in Tony Hawk, I might have to be getting that. It looks fantastic. What can I say? I mean, the team's done an incredible job. And for people that don't know the history of this, like there was originally a Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake that was meant to come out a while back, but they were cancelled. And these were picked up by a different developer and they've been remade. So, I mean, they've done an incredible job. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, the developer is the team that made Killer Instinct.
Iron Galaxy.
Yeah, Iron Galaxy, which is both exciting and sad because they did the remake. Awesome. Does that mean that they weren't working on Killer Instinct 2? Don't ruin my life, Iron Galaxy. Please, for the love of Joe, have a team working on that. We'll see. Hopefully, that's one of the announcements in June. And again, folks, I'm going to be ass in seat. You will hear me in New York from LA if I hear the boom, 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 boom. That's it. I'm jumping out of my skin. I may even streak naked and get arrested, but we will see. Infinite number. Before we get on out of here, real quick, folks, if you are a person who enjoys Doom and you already got yourself the collector's edition, which is going to come with that 18-inch pause right there, dope ass statue. Well, thanks to Will Broke Boy Lewis who dropped the super chat, and we'll get to those in a second. I just ordered it while you were talking, Jamie. There is a Doom Slayer wearable helmet. I have the first Doom helmet right in front of me. It still works. It looks awesome. This is the Doom the Dark Ages wearable helmet. It's $175 after tax, folks. I bought it. I'm not going to front. It is awesome. I can't wait to add it to my collection. But with all of that said, let's get your thoughts, Infinite Umbra, on the Tony Hawk announcement. It's official. It's real. It exists. And it's in Game Pass day and date. Let's go.
Rip and tear until there is nothing left.
I love it. I love it.
I also just ordered the helmet. That's why I'm doing the voice. I also ordered it, and it will be here March 13th. It says yes. Yeah, very excited. I don't really get a lot of paraphernalia, but I was like, you know what? I actually do like this helmet. I might get this, and I'll have a Master Chief helmet too, and possibly put that in the back for when I actually.
I mean, you put them right next to each other. I mean, that's a W. That's a giant W.
Two of the baddest mofos in the gaming. I'm gonna have that, put it in the background for when I get on camera here.
That would be kind of dope, dude.
It will be soon, by the way. It won't be that far from now. But yeah, man. This looks really good. I did have a thought, like thinking of Halo CE, where you could, or Anniversary rather, where you could switch from the classic graphics to the modern ones. I wonder if you can do that on this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Kind of seeing how they showed that, it looked like you could. It is crazy to see the visual jump from then till now. But I mean, man, it's been what, 20 plus years?
Oh, it's been a minute,
20
dude.
years, I guess.
Decades.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it looks really good, man. I'm excited for it. I'm interested. It's good to see that they got the licensing done as far as the music and all of that, and got the characters in there bringing Doom. I am the opposite of you when it comes to that, by the way, Jamie. I am an aesthetic thought. I like to look really good. I like to look really good in gaming, and I will spend money to, like, get myself done up and dressed up and everything like that. I am yeah. I am one of those weirdos that will do that. I'll buy the horse armor. You know what I mean? But yeah, hell, I did. Shit. So I'm excited for that. Now this
I'm
looks
right there
really
with you,
good.
sir. I spent the
Hey,
$5.
there
I'm
you
part of the
go.
problem. I admit it.
We are the yes, we are the pay pigs. We are the pay pigs. But yeah, no, it looks really, really good. For those who are big fans of Tony Hawk, hey, I'm sure you're feeling ecstatic right now. I know this is probably a nostalgia rush to a lot of people. And
Yeah.
so to be clear, this part 3 and 4 is coming to Game Pass. Just to ask, is these coming to Game Pass?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. That's excellent. I mean, listen, I don't have much more to add to it than a general excitement. I'm glad that it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. I definitely will be playing it for that reason alone. And it's it's good to have this older series like this bring themselves back. Yes, Black John. I am a thought for aesthetics. I'm an aesthetic thought.
By the way, I just looked at the webpage for Doom the Dark Ages collectible helmet. It says here when you pre-order, you get a skin for Doom the Dark Ages. It's called the Void Doomslayer skin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, yep.
Even better. Yeah. Read it and weep, boys.
Read it and weep, fellas.
We got the helmet. Sorry for you. Yeah, I'll definitely have it on display back there for sure. I'm gonna put some lighting back there. But anyway, yeah, man. Like I said, excited to see that happen. I think if it does really well, it'll probably open the door for more classic games to come out because we still have. It's been this weird, conspicuous thing of them not having these Activision games, launch and hit Game Pass. Finally, they still haven't done it. It's been what 500 days, according to Colt was saying, 501 now, I guess.
Yep.
Where those games hadn't hit Game Pass, so I'm gonna guess that they're probably evaluating all of them and trying to see that they can do just like this and bring them and remaster them and remake them. Brother.
I wonder. That's a funny thought. I mean, we probably spent another 3 hours talking about it, but I wonder if the Muse technology that takes older games and gives. Now, granted, they're small, right? I don't know if that Muse technology is ready to go like for prime time, but maybe they're working on something that's similar that could also do what Muse does, and that is take older games and give it that buff, give it that that next gen look more so than what they already do. Because again, most of the games that are backwards compatible come with HDR boost, right? They come with FPS boost, and they come with all the bells and whistles that older games, launch titles like Fusion Frenzy, if you go and look at it, what it looks like now on a Series X, it looks like a new game. Now, granted, it's not a big game. It's a couple of gigs. So I'm sure that wasn't a lot to do with it, but it still looks phenomenal. That game launched in 2001, right? So, I mean, that's crying out loud almost 25 years ago. So, next year. So I don't know if that's what they're waiting for. It's still it's a bit perplexing for sure why we haven't gotten the entire Call of Duty collection, why we haven't gotten a Singularity, why we haven't gotten Prototype 1 and 2, right? I'm waiting, and hopefully we do get those games. But it is a question that maybe they answer it this June with the backwards compatibility thing, right? Like when Phil did a couple of many years ago when they announced backwards compatibility on the Xbox One, everybody went freaking bonkers, right? So we'll see. Interesting thoughts. But gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Let me just catch up on the last couple of super chats. We have a couple here, and we'll get everyone out of here. We are at the 90-minute mark, which is normally where we end the show. J-Mac, our generous friend, Graybeard, or fellow Graybeard, drops an outstanding $5 super chat. And J-Mac goes on to say, has anyone other than the Xbox community realized that it's no longer a console war? It's a content war, and Xbox... #we winning, #Xbox Graybeards LFG. Yeah, I think that's the running trend. I don't think that the PlayStation gaming media will admit that. I don't think that the PlayStation gamers themselves who run in the console war or swim in the console war waters, because not all of them do. Look, 85+% of PlayStation players don't listen to podcasts. They're not running on Twitter yelling at each other because one likes a console better than the other. They're just buying games. That's why Forza Motorsport is number one basically everywhere but the US. It's number 3, 4, and 13. And that could even get higher as we get closer. They just want to play good games. And if they have PlayStation and that's their main, good on them. All right. Again, it's weird. Jamie said it. It's weird that Xbox games are going to PlayStation and Nintendo, but that's just the way the world turns, man. That's the business reality of 2025. I wouldn't do it if I was running the Xbox, but then again, I'm not running a $3 trillion company. It's fine. But we have to accept it. So thanks so much for the generosity, J-Mac. Great to see you here. Hey, Blinken drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Blinken goes on to say, why not release the new Xbox in 2026? Microsoft is not going to try and compete with PlayStation 6. Give the hardcore a better console in 2026. I'm right there with you. I would love to see a 26 release of the Xbox Microsoft-made console, and then maybe in 27 you get a Alienware or a Dell or a Lenovo or a ROG Xbox that you could put whatever you want in it and say, listen, build your Xbox here, and you order the $1,500 one that gives you RDNA 2 and gives you all the bells and whistles that you could possibly get with a rig, except it's going to just look like their version of an Xbox. That's what I'm hoping for. Will the Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional $5 and $2 super chat. Well, the first one goes, holy shit, the Bethesda Gear Store just released a wearable Doomslayer helmet from Doom the Dark Ages as part of the collector's edition No Game, which again is fine because I already have the game coming from that collector's edition from Xbox, which is great. And his second one is of $2. He says, damn it, I just bought that too. I'm not taking any chances. Good for you, man. Spend that money, brother. And that's probably why we're all broke, like Will, because we spend money on frivolous things like, Doom the Dark Slayer helmets that we don't need in our life, but we really do need in our life. But
it was worth it. It was worth it.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely worth it. Listen, that's going to do it for us. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you had as much fun as Jamie Moran and Infinite Umbra and myself. We had a lot of laughs here. We got a lot of stuff. We got a bone. Well, okay, so we had a bonus back end topic that was supposed to open up the show. But Jamie, let's sell your brand because you have a show happening later this afternoon with Logan Meyer called All Thing Xbox. We want people to get over there and subscribe to the Jamie Moran, the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. Where can people do that? Where can people check out the show at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? And more importantly, where can people follow you on social media?
Thanks, Boom. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys. So yeah, my YouTube channel is The Elusive Gamer. I exclusively cover Xbox, no fanboy stuff and all that. All Things Xbox podcast is on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to cover basically everything that's going on today with the whole Tony Hawk stuff, some Final Fantasy stuff, and I'm probably going to have a rant about Ubisoft and Splinter Cell at some point. That seems to be a weekly occurrence. But yeah, that's popping off at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a fun show. Hope people come to chat. It's always fun over there. No fanboys in chat. It's very rare these days. It's very nice. And my Twitter is Jamie Moran UK, where it's exclusively gaming and jokes.
Oh, we're happy to have you here, brother. Hopefully you turn the corner. You're starting to feel a little bit better. And we definitely will be checking out you guys this evening. Can't wait to get into what's happening. Again, it's always a fun show, folks. If you're not already subscribed, please get over there and subscribe to the Elusive Gamer, a.k.a. Mr. Mass Effect, a.k.a. Jamie Moran. And, of course, lastly, in no way leastly, our Chi-Town brother, Infinite Umbra, Mr. Unreal Engine 5 himself. You have a show happening later this week on Thursday with Daniel McGee called The Fix, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you guys are going to be breaking down all of the pop culture and that wrestling event where we just saw the turn. We saw the heel version
Yes, we
of
did.
John
Oh, yeah.
Cena. I was shocked, and I don't watch wrestling, but I did watch that, and I was like, this kind of reminds me of when Hogan stabbed Savage in the back and went
100%.
NWO. Oh
Yep,
my God,
100%.
crazy.
That's exactly what it felt like, except like probably worse. Because
Maybe
John,
worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
John had been a good guy or a baby face for 20 years at that point before he did this here. And he's at the literal end of his career. So I just thought it was really, really creative and dope for them to go this way. I wasn't expecting it, but then when I saw him look, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. Yeah, that was a great event. The elimination. We're talking about the Elimination Chamber, folks, for those who don't know, and John Cena turning heel and betraying, well, I won't say betraying, but tricking Cody and all that. Oh, great event. We're definitely going to be talking about that. It's actually the cover for this week's thumbnail. I got it, and I got history behind it. It looks dope. Definitely going to be talking about that this week. So yeah, you guys come by for the fix and check us out this Thursday, 8:00 Eastern. Me and Danny McGee going to have some guests this week too to talk about some wrestling, and we're going to be talking about gaming too. So don't worry, it won't just be wrestling; it'll be a bunch of things. But that's going to be one of our major topics for sure, because I'm still actually pretty geeked about that, and it's crazy how viral it's going. By the way, it's like everywhere they're talking about it. I saw Jon Stewart on the Daily Show talking about it, and it was so funny. He used it in relation to the politics and stuff like that. I won't say much more than that, I guess, but it was hilarious and it fit. And he was like, clearly you guys aren't watching wrestling, but you got to check it out to see that snippet to see what I mean. It's hilarious.
That's great.
And so yeah, definitely come by, guys. I hope you guys come by and spend some time with us this Thursday. As far as social media, you guys can find me Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on social media. And man, happy to be here with you guys. It was a good show. Thank you all for holding us down in the chat today. And yeah, see you guys soon again.
Well, appreciate everyone being
here. The last part. Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday noon. We're doing the roundtable discussion for Avowed, plus our review scores for it. So you guys who have played through it, or if you're not too afraid to hear any spoilers or whatever the case may be, come by Saturday at 12 noon East. 1 Eastern. How about that? 1 Eastern, 12 noon for me. Yeah, and see you guys. Hopefully you come by for that too.
Well, that should be great. We're looking very much forward to checking it out, because again, I'm going to try and drop by for sure. Even if I'm in there for like 30 or 40 minutes, I want to give my hot take. That's going to be pretty dope. I'm looking forward to hearing what the roundtable has to say about Avowed. It has really surprised a lot of people on how good it was, and I'm so happy, ladies and gentlemen, with the reception, because look, I know a lot of people think Xbox games are mid, and they're always going to be mid in their opinion. This is one you shouldn't miss. I mean, honestly, it is so freaking good, and it does really look. I've said this before, and I want to say it again. It really respects the player's time. And, obviously, if you put the work in, will definitely, be handed back, the awards, so to speak, through, secrets and through weapons and a whole bunch of other things. Again, the more you put into the game, the more game returns to you. I'll leave it at that. But of course, let's get everyone out of here. Once again, a big thank you to all the super chats that popped in here. We definitely appreciate it. And again, they do help the channel behind the scenes. Get over there to the Bethesda eShop. Do not miss on that helmet, because it looks like it's going to sell out. I see a lot of people talking about it. Don't be the one to be like, oh, I wish I had it. And of course, I want to say a big thank you to well over 800 people that were watching live. We do appreciate it here. We are only 213 subscribers away from 16K, folks. I'm going to do a big tweet to kind of ask the community for help. If you see it out there, retweet it, favorite it, share it. We can see if we can get by end of week the 213 that we need to hit 16K. It would be a really big deal for me and Mrs. Boom to get that number, and you can help us. But that's going to do it for us here. I want to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids, And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.